I was saying some of the things I put into effect here are based on what I saw with River City and the apparent Navy guy in Virginia Beach in his garage. I've got the luxury of having a forklift, and but one problem is I don't know how to weld, and my torch cutting abilities are grade school level. So I do the best I can, and but what I've done here is I've had the opportunity to take this short bed off of a pretty not desirable frame body, and I'm working with this to begin with. One of the things that I did, instead of bracing the front end, I used these all-thread. It's like one giant bolt, and stuck it through, and I've got a nut on this side, which would be a jam nut. We call it a jam nut, and one on this side. Well, that one isn't all the way up, but I've got it where the frame won't spread. This is the rear end, obviously, and I took this cross member out because I'm going to set this up for a rear gas tank, and I decided I'd go ahead and cut that member out before I sandblasted it. And then after I blast it and primed it, I'm going to either tack it in or bolt it in so I can modify it. If I need to get the gas tank out, I think I'm going to bolt it in case I need to change the gas tank or remove it or some reason in the future. That way it'll be easier. On the horns up the front, did the same thing. And I've seen a lot of them, they'll put the bumper back up there or weld something. If you're using all thread like this, I got this all thread in an auction, oil field equipment auction, so it didn't cost me anything. I imagine you can get one for about $10, something like that, and that it'll lock in that position nicely. Another thing that I did is, instead of cutting the entire front cross member out until I get it blasted and get ready to do the finish up work, I just cut part of it out and left some of that supporting structure in there. You can see I suck at torch cutting as well. Based on what I've learned from the other guys, I've cleaned out that area. I also took out this cross member, which I've got laying loosely here. So I took this one out, and also I took out the rear cab support cross member. That lightens it up, and it's easier to blast all the areas in the frame with those members out, and then I can either bolt them back in or weld them back in as I go along. And another thing I did on getting rid of some of this stuff, I saw a lot of effort put in by Texas, some guy that's also in Texas, I can't think of his name. He wrestled that front end like crazy forever, and what I did is I just cut that shit off. So there's some of the original components. I tried to save what I could in case somebody else needed it. I didn't cut the springs. There's no need to do that. You just drop that whole front member out. But some of this stuff is so common, there's no shortage of it. There's plenty of shortages. I mean, there's a great shortage of short bed frames, but you can get those front end from just about anywhere. Also on these rivets, I'm good enough, I think, where if you cut these rivets off where these plates go, you can cut the heads of them off without affecting the frame, like behind where this spring nest went. This is the top part. Take it around here for you. It was sitting right here. So if you cut those, you cut the heads off right there. You see that slag? You cut the heads off, and you can pop those things off pretty easily. And then I developed a little trick based on my own intuition is I'm gonna leave this one here and have my welder weld on that and then grind it down, just fill that hole. The guy in Virginia Beach filled those holes. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that right now, but I think it does make a pretty cool look. Not that some people say who gives a crap about the frame, but I think if you're gonna start from the beginning, may as well do it right and fun and have something to brag about. And it's like these, ground those off. And I did the same thing. I put my cutter at an angle and just sliced the top of that head off, and then popped off the front cab mounts were here. When I took those off, they're in pretty bad shape. The hole was eaten out, so I'm going to get some more frame cab mounts. So I'm going to get some more frame cab mounts, front ones, off another donor truck. One of the things I wanted to show you is a neat little trick is after you shave those off and grind them down, here's what you end up with. And before you do that, if you take, here's two right here, and what I did is after I ground them down, after shaving the heads off and got them out, I took a drill and drilled a hole all the way through, and then you can use a torch and cut through that, and then take a hammer with a bolt. You don't want to use a tapered thing, because when you stick that in there and start hitting on it, it spreads that outside diameter and makes more tension against it, so it won't come out as easy. So you want to use something that's flat and straight and hit right on top of that and knock it out. And that's how I knock these other ones out. I'll try to maybe integrate a demonstration of that in a future video here. But basically my little tips for you guys, based on what I've learned and experienced, is take in all thread, get you a frame spreader or support. It's easier to get around than bolting the bumper back on. It's easier to put on than putting the bumper back on. It's lighter. I can pick up one end of this frame all by myself the way it is right now. Save yourself some of this cross member for if you're gonna do what I'm doing and take it and have it blasted and then work on it. I figured my welder likes to have stuff not all rusty and everything, makes it easier for him to tack up stuff. And then we're gonna work on getting this fixed up here. I need to straighten out that little bow right there and get my inserts from the donor frame of the Crown Victoria set in there. And then I'll get rid of this, cut the rest of this out. Cutting these pieces out right here to help get it cleaned up, make it easier to blast and prime, and then you can tack them in where they go. It's real easy to find the line up the bolt holes back where they came from. And then also, if taking that rear piece out of the back, it came out of right here, and then after I'm gonna blast all these pieces, and then I'm gonna put it in the back across here, fit it in here, and then bolt it in so I can remove it for the Mustang tank or whatever kind of tank I decide to put in it. That's all I've got for now. Thank you.